After the long and peaceful reign of Jaehaerys I, Viserys inherited a secure throne, a full treasury, and a legacy of goodwill that his grandfather had cultivated over 50 years. House Targaryen was never again so powerful as it was in Viserys' reign. More princes and princesses of the blood existed than at any other time since the Doom, and there were never so many dragons at one time as there were in the years 103 AC to 129 AC. But the great upheaval of the Dance of the Dragons had its roots in Viserys' reign, and it was chiefly due to the Blood Royals. In the early part of his reign, Viserys I's chief annoyance was his own brother, Prince Daemon Targaryen. Daemon was mercurial and quick to take offense, but he was dashing, daring, and dangerous. He was knighted at 6 and 10, like Maegor I, and Jaehaerys I himself gave Daemon the Valyrian steel blade, Dark Sister, for his prowess. He had been among the brashest of Viserys' supporters prior to the Great Council, and had even gathered a small army of sworn swords and men-at-arms when rumors claimed that Corlys Velaryon was readying a fleet to defend the rights of his son, Laenor. King Jaehaerys avoided bloodshed, but many remembered that Daemon had been ready to come to blows over the matter. Daemon had been wed to Rhea Royce in 97 AC, when she was heir to the ancient seat of Runestone in the Vale. It was a fine, rich match, but Daemon found the Vale little to his liking, and he liked his wife even less, and they were soon estranged. It had likewise proven a barren union, and though Viserys I refused his brother's entreaties to set aside the marriage, he did recall him to court to take up the burden of rule. Daemon served first as Master of Coins, then Master of Law, but it was his chief rival, the Hand Sir Otto Hightower, who finally convinced Viserys to remove him from these offices. So in 104 AC, Viserys made his brother commander of the City Watch. Prince Daemon improved the armaments and training of the Watch, and gave them the gold cloaks that led them to be known as the Gold Cloaks to this day. He often joined his men in patrolling the city, swiftly becoming known to both the meanest urchin and the wealthiest tradesman, and earned a dark reputation in the stews and brothels, where he was wont to make free of the wares on offer. Crime fell sharply, though some said it was because Daemon delighted in meting out harsh punishments. Yet, those who benefited from his rule loved him well, and Daemon soon became known as Lord Fleabottom. Later still, after Viserys refused him the title of Prince of Dragonstone, he came to be called the Prince of the City. It was in the brothels of the city that he found a favorite, a paramour, a very pale Lycene dancer named Mysaria, whose looks and reputation led the prostitutes who knew her to call her Misery, the White Worm. Later, she became Daemon's mistress of whisperers. Some said that Daemon's support for his brother in the Great Council was motivated by the belief he would be his brother's heir. But in Viserys' mind, he already had an heir, Rhaenyra, his sole daughter by his cousin, Queen Aemma of House Arryn. Rhaenyra was born in 97 AC, and as a child her father doted upon her and took her everywhere with him, even to the council chamber, where he encouraged her to watch and listen intently. For these reasons, the court doted on her as well, and many paid homage to her. The singers dubbed her the realm's delight, for she was bright and precocious, a beautiful child, who was already a dragon rider at the age of 7, as she flew on the back of her she-dragon, Syrax, named for one of the old gods of Valyria. In 105 AC, her mother finally delivered the son that the king and queen had both longed for. But the queen died in childbirth, and the boy, named Balon, only survived her by a day. By this time, Viserys I was heartily sick of being hectored over the succession, and disregarding the precedents of 92 AC and the Great Council of 101 AC, he officially declared that Rhaenyra was Princess of Dragonstone and his heir. A grand ceremony was arranged, in which hundreds of lords knelt to do homage to the princess while she sat at her father's feet. Prince Daemon was not among them. The year 105 AC holds one more event of note: the induction of Sir Criston Cole into the Kingsguard. Born in 82 AC, as the son of a steward in the service of the Dondarrions of Blackhaven, Criston had risen to the attention of the court at a tourney at Maidenpool to celebrate Viserys' ascension to the throne, where he won the melee and was the last but one in the jousting. Black-haired, green-eyed, and comely, he proved a delight to the ladies of the court, and to Princess Rhaenyra most of all. She took a childish fancy to him, naming him My White Knight, and begging her father to make him her sworn shield, which he did. After that, Cole was always by her side, and carried her favor in the lists. It was said in later years that the princess only had eyes for Sir Criston, but there is reason to doubt that that may be wholly true.